We have talked in depth just how bad free ports actually are. Like, the very concept of them is awful. To the point where David Cameron, leader of the Conservative Party, closed down the last free port in the UK because it was no longer fit for purpose and wasn't really, shall we say, bringing the benefits that the initial scheme had promised. That it was time to close this chapter for good. Now, of course, the UK is no stranger to free ports. We used to have 12 free ports at one point, but the only two that were successful, as we've discussed before, the one in Sunderland, where we attracted Nissan to come and set up, and then, of course, the Isle of Dogs, where the London City Airport was built. Those were the only two actual successful free ports in the UK. The others weren't very successful at all. In fact, they tended to be vast commercial failures once they had been set up. And more worryingly, of course, Ben Houchen, the man responsible for this new flagship project of the Tees Valley Freeport, the one that Rishi Sunak is hanging all his promises on, that this is going to be the model for all these other free ports around the country and how successful this is all going to be. Meanwhile, we are hearing constant scandal after scandal after scandal after scandal of just what is going on at these free ports, or at this free port in particular. And remember, the free port actually hasn't even been built yet. And yet there's just continuing cases of just dodgy dealings and, well, stuff you just generally wouldn't believe stuff going and getting away with. And I will give it now to the Private Eye. They've been the only real newspaper covering just what is going on at this Freeport. And I am still shocked that this has not evolved into a big national scandal. I hope it will eventually, because it sure looks like it's going that way. But when the Private Eye, as history has shown, gets their teeth into something like this, they do not let it go. And they are continually covering just what is going on at the Tees Valley Freeport. And this is just another, honestly, shocking case of just what is going on here. And I'll tell you this now. Ben Houchen putting all his hopes on getting re-elected on this Freeport and even building this Freeport in the first place, well, I would hope the people in the area certainly need to start asking questions about what Houchen has been doing in this Freeport, because it doesn't seem to be, well, all that good. And we can hope that, well, he loses his mayoralship next time, and a new mayor comes in and takes over, and, well, we get to the bottom of just what is going on, because there seems to be a lot of very dodgy stuff going on here. So we're going to go over to the Private Eye to have a look at just what is going on here, because just some of this stuff that you're going to hear, when I sort of first read this, I was like, what? I just can't believe that they would actually do some of this stuff. But there you go. So anyway, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below there are links to my Patreon page, the one donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. There's the YouTube thank you button, and of course the Podium Club down below as well. So over we go into the Private Eye in the what's in the back. And the title of Stings and Roundabouts. So, evidence obtained by the Eye suggests that the new Tory Lord, or at least the new Tory peer Lord, Ben Houchen, South Teesside Development Corporation, or the STDC, is responsible for regenerating a vast industrial site at the heart of the government's flagship Freeport on Teesside, and has been using its huge financial clout to try and strong-arm a local authority into improperly agreeing a planning change to help it out in a controversial legal wrangle. Earlier this year, in I-1590, it revealed the history of an ongoing dispute between the STDC and PD Ports Limited. The latter runs Britain's sixth largest freight port in Teesside, which is enveloped by the land to be redeveloped by the STC. Houchen's body is seeking to try and deny PD Ports certain access rights in order to extract a financial gain from the port company, a so called ransom admitted by STDC then chairman Steve Gibson in an expletive and threatened laden tirade in a meeting back in 2020. Part of PD Port's defense to the claim is that the spirit of mutual cooperation to try and encourage economic development and the port company had given the STC a small part of this land it owns, so the latter could build an important roundabout. This was required for the businesses in the hopes that Houchen could attract to the area to try and get onto the site from the Tees Dock Road. In return for this gift, the STDC would confirm PD Port's access rights across its land. So, instantly, you have a situation where this Freeport and the land around the actual port, one of the sixth largest in the country, according to these reports, is being held to ransom for access rights. That alone, this alone just goes to show you the amount of corruption and nonsense that is being constantly uncovered by this. And there's more. And there is a lot more going on this. Even the other one, because I want to also mention this, because this also just goes to show you the sneakiness that Houchen has been carrying out. Because part of this whole thing is there's meant to be this board of directors. On this board of directors, there is Houchen, certainly the obviously developers that are alongside developing this land, and then of course the local council leaders. And one of the leaders, the independent leader of Redcar and Cleveland Council, Mary Langwin, she found out in a meeting that she had apparently voted to give the developers this massive windfall document, this massive windfall to the developers that she did not know about, because the documents that were given to her by Houchen were given not before, but on the day of the vote. So they had no idea about what the situation was, about how much power and money was actually going to be given to these developers, because it was deliberately, I think so, misled by Houchen, done, as we can see, behind closed doors with Houchen and the developers to basically enrich themselves. And Houchen seems to be helping them in this regard a lot, from what we can see from some of the evidence. And like I say, the Eye is constantly covering this. Every week there is something new that they're finding out about just what is going on at the Teesside Freeport, the Freeport, and it desperately needs to be really properly investigated. I hope it does get properly investigated, because this is certainly, first of all, I think when all this comes out, because it looks like it's already very quickly coming out, thanks to the Eye. First of all, I think Houchen is going to get absolutely torpedoed. I think any hopeful future political career for him, be it as a MP or whatever, is going to get absolutely torpedoed because he was involved in this. And certainly, who knows what else is going to happen here, but there's so much stuff just being constantly uncovered by the Eye about just what's going on at this Freeport. It's unbelievable. But now you've got the developers and Houchen, it seems, trying to ransom access to the rest of the Freeport from the actual port side of the Freeport. And you like, just just what is going on here? Honestly, this stuff just seems well and truly unbelievable. The more and more you hear about this, but there you go. That's still more, you know, uh, goings on at the Freeport. But yeah, it's just unbelievable. You can't make some of this stuff up, but the stuff that's coming out of this. But yeah, um, I think this will become a massive scandal. I really think this will become a massive scandal. I think it is very, very obvious that he's cooking the books at the moment. That he, not cooking the books, but I think this is a scandal that is slowly, shall we say, cooking itself. And the more as you looked at sort of, shall we say, past scandals in the past, this is certainly a case of all this stuff had been known, just hadn't been really, shall we say, heavily covered yet by mainstream newspapers. And bear in mind, I've got to give credit as well because not just the Eye that has been covering this as well. The Yorkshire Post has also been one of the newspapers also covering a lot of this stuff that's going on the Freeport as well. So if you do want to sort of look into the ongoings of just what is going on at this Freeport, because like I say, there's so much stuff going on in this Freeport. It's unbelievable. But do go and check out the Private Eye. Go get a subscription to it. Pick it up next time you see it in your local newspaper and office or post office, etc. And yeah, the Yorkshire Post as well also done some very good stories as well. So go check them out as well. So as always, thank you very much for watching, and of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.